All right, guys, welcome back. In this section, we are going to answer a Q&A that either came from a DM, that came from like a mentor client, or it came from some sort of question that I got over the last week or so. So today's question reads like this. Hi, I'm looking to do some renovations. I have a mortgage up for renewal in 2026. Oh, that's a couple of years. And I have a credit score of 800, subtle flex. What are my best options? Okay. So this is good. You got a great credit score. You have some leeway before your mortgage renewal comes up. You're doing some good stuff. Like I'm always a big fan of planning before rather than hey, my mortgage just comes up in 2 months. What do I do? So this is great that he's planning, or great that he or she's planning. Sorry. So the first thing I would say, I'm going to put my investor hat on. Don't over renovate, especially when you have some money to spend and you're looking to possibly do a refinance or sale. There's no need to over renovate, because at the end of the day, your taste might not be everyone's taste. And if we're 3 years out, it might not be a good idea to over renovate when styles might change. There was a time where the bronze handles were all in, and then there was the gold handles, and then it was the matte black, and then it was the gray luxury vinyl plank floor. Now people like the lighter floor and the white walls. Again, styles change. So again, I would go with some classic styles, maybe even consult a designer to make sure you're getting the best return on your investment there. Another thing I'd like to do is check the comparables for the area. You kind of want to know where your property is sitting in terms of value, so you know how much to spend on your renovation to make sure you're getting the best value out of it. When I have a client in this situation, I like to do comparative market analysis. You might call them, or you might hear them called CMAs. So what I do is I take their property specifics and I compare them to a couple sold properties and maybe even some active properties in the area, so we get a realistic idea of what their property's worth now and what their property's worth after they do the renovations. Some people call this ARV, or after repair value. This is great because we know how much to spend on renovations and how much we should see as a return on our investment. Like for instance, if the property is only going to be worth $800,000, but we have to put $100,000 worth of renovations into it, it might not make sense, and it might be better to just sell it as is. But at that same token, if the property is worth over $1 million and we only have to put $100,000 into it, that might be a really good return on investment because the ARV is so much higher. So that's definitely something we want to keep a look at. Another point that I'd make here is focus on density. So they've already passed the laws that approve the multiple units in a residential area. So I'm a big believer in focus on density. Whether you're adding an in-law suite or a legal second suite, it's very important to add density to improve your after repair value, and two, just open it up to a wider range of buyers. If you have that in-law suite or second suite, not only can a first-time home buyer or end user use that, but you can also get it to an investor. So it kind of hits both spots there. So I'm a big believer in adding density there. Again, investors, house hackers, multi-generational houses, these are all things you want to do when you can densify there. What I'll do is I'll put the info on building a second suite. I'll put it in the description, either on the podcast or on the YouTube video. You guys can take a look at it there. A couple other things that I would look at is the Airbnb potential rental income. Again, if you don't want to rent it out, or if you just renovate it there and maybe you have a small little section in the basement you can always go after some Airbnb rental income. And the final thing here, keep healthy reserves. I think I heard this from another podcast, is the amount of reserves you have is directly related to the problems you're going to have in your renovation. So if you have only $500 left and it's your last $500 and you're just squeezing it, you're going to have a big problem. The roof's probably going to blow off your house and you're going to be like, oh crap, where do I get the money from? But at the same token, if you have $5,000 in reserves, your probably only problem is going to be a leaky pipe that you can fix with a $200 plumber visit. So again, keep healthy reserves. One, for peace of mind, and two, it's just going to better help your renovation there. If you're looking for how to start these renovations or get an idea of what the numbers are going to look at, I do have a free rehab estimator. If you jump over to Instagram, you can click on that link in my bio and you'll get taken right to the free rehab estimator. Put in your square footage, put in what you want to do, and it's going to give you a low, high, and average of what your renovations are going to look like. Great place to start, and then we can connect you with some contractors going forward there. So yeah, great question. 800 credit score, doing some renos. There's a lot of options you guys can do, so I hope that was helpful. Again, this is the Real Deal Durham Podcast, and we'll be right back.